Hi Academy Stars! Today we're going to be starting a new lesson and we're going to be focusing a lot on the Humboldt pencil. And the reason we're going to be focusing on that is because this is pretty much one of my favorite art materials you could ever use. So we're going to take the opportunity in the next week to explore all the possibilities of this pencil. Alright, so we're going to start on our first shading project with the pencil with ribbons. I love ribbons. It's not Christmas, but why not? Ribbons. Here is my example of sort of weaved ribbons. And I'm going to demonstrate how we are going to accomplish this. And this will give us a little bit of a foundation on shading, which we're going to apply to more difficult and advanced drawing lessons. So let's see if we can master this one, get this one under our belt, and then next week we'll start on something new and fresh. All right, here's an example of the ribbon lesson that we're doing, in which we're weaving 3 strands of ribbon, and we are demonstrating some shading techniques, because in the next coming weeks we're going to have lessons that focus predominantly on pencil work and shading. The first thing you want to do when you get your piece of paper, and again, use whatever materials you have available to you. You can do this in pen if you feel confident enough. I prefer pencil for this, so I can build up my tones. If you would look, I have some of my darker tones here, and medium tones, light tones, and basically no tones at all. What we want to do is build up contrast, having those lights against some really strong darks, and having a substantial amount of midtones as well. You also notice that I took in between the ribbons, I did sort of a Zentangle design just to add some interest. You don't have to do that. I did that because I thought it made it look a little bit more interesting. So when you get your piece of paper all set, you're going to start off making just 3 strips. Imagine these strips of ribbon or paper going down your paper, and try to equally space them out. That's real important. So that was the easy part. Now we have to do the under-over aspect. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go over this one, under that one, over this one. I'm going to do that again, over, under that one, and over this one. I gotta find my little eraser in my box. Give me a moment. So I'm going to erase this line right here because it's going over. Do you see that? It's completely over. And I suggest you don't draw this as dark as I'm drawing it. It's easier to erase lines that are light rather than dark. You can see how hard it is to erase that dark line. So the next one has to be different from the first one. If you remember when we weaved back in first grade and second grade, now we're going to go under. So the second one goes under, like so. And then it goes over the middle one and under the third one. And the only line we have to erase is the one in the middle. So that looks pretty good. And then you're going to do the next one, which is just like so. I'm going to go over, under, and under this one. So we erase these lines. I think you got the picture. I think it's pretty easy. If you, before you start shading, if you're unsure about what you did and if it's right, please refer back to the images that I put on Google Classroom so you could see what it's supposed to look like, or give you some guidance there. The next part is really practice, and that's the shading. So you're going to shade areas that are underneath this ribbon, and I usually start off, I'm going to turn my paper a little bit, and I start off really light, like so. And as it gets closer to the ribbon, it's going to get darker and darker because we're trying to create that shadow. There's a slight shadow. And you don't want to rush this. You might as well take your time. You have a lot of time now. And it's actually very relaxing. I actually love doing this type of work. Kind of keeps my mind at ease. I enjoy it. And I actually become sort of a perfectionist with it and trying to blend. So there's, you can see how has the dark, medium, and light. I like to take a really nice sharp pencil and get into those corners right there. And then I would go off to the other side. I'd flip my paper over and do the same thing. Starting off light, filling in those areas. Let the pencil do the work. Don't press too hard on that pencil. It's all about a light touch. It's all about trying to figure out a technique that works for you. Sometimes my pencil even does like little circle motions. I don't know if you notice that. And then you get darker as you get closer to the ribbon. And it goes pretty fast, I have to say. And then you feel sad when it's all done. You might feel tempted to smudge it. A lot of people like to smudge it. Sometimes that looks good. Sometimes it doesn't. You can over smudge it. Sometimes just a little smudge works out okay. I don't like to smudge too much. I think if you can control this pencil and really get the shading and the contrast the way you like it, it looks a lot better than smudging. Smudging is sort of you don't have as much control over it, and it can make your picture look messy and muddy. So I am a strong advocate for not smudging, but if you want to experiment with that, go right ahead. As soon as you get all your shading done, you can go back and add your Zentangle. Remember that you're doing everything that's like underneath. That's where you're doing your shadows. So always refer back to your example. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I can email you back as quickly as possible and give you some suggestions. When you complete this assignment, I'd love to see your work. Please upload it to the Google Classroom, and I will get back to you. Good luck. Have a great week.